What you're about to listen to is a Bri-Fi production.
Comic book reviews. 50 nerd news. Heroes versus villains. Hey everyone, welcome back to the 200th episode of the Bri-Fi podcast. I'm your host, Bri-Fi, the comics guy, and I just want to thank everyone who's been a part of the podcast for 200 episodes. It's been really awesome and really, it feels great reaching this milestone, and I'm just so excited. Even more importantly, this time around, I decided, for 100 episodes, I didn't really do anything special or anything. For 200 episodes, I did want to do something a little bit more, so I decided to get a Google Voice account and a phone line on there where people could call in and leave a message for the show. And so just kind of throughout this episode, we're going to play some of those messages, put the focus on the listeners this episode, and then afterwards actually have an interview with the creators of Trailer Park Samurai, which is this really fun little comic. And these guys I met at Staple here in Austin, so I wanted to share that with you, have them on. We talked a little bit, had a lot of fun, and so, not even about me, not doing comic book reviews this week, not doing nifty nerd news, just focusing on you guys, the listeners. And so we'll talk about that, and, we'll just get to the phone lines right now. The first one up is from a good friend of mine. Actually, the first three. We're just going to play all three. It's from a good friend of mine, Jason from Walker the Geek. It's another podcast that a one-man show just like mine. He does comic book reviews, drinks, and does a lot of weird voices, many of which you are going to witness firsthand. So this isn't even so much as a congratulations to me for 200 episodes as much as it is like an ad for his podcast. But here, listen to Jason real quick.
What is going on, guys? It's Walker the Geek here, and I just want to wish Bri-Fi a happy 200th episode. Bless this man and everything he has done for the podcast industry. And here's to another 200 episodes. Way to go there, Bri-Fi, and I promise in the future I'll learn to spell your name correctly.
Hello, Jimmy Num Nums here. Just wanting to say a beautiful, glorious thing for 200 episodes for you. Here's to 200 more, Bri-Fi, old boy. Charles and I are rooting for you. You keep doing what you're doing, boy. We love it.
Oh, was that the beat? Oh, I think that was the beat. Oh, that was the beat. Oh, hey, Brian, man. Oh, man, this is awesome. 200 episodes, man. That's really cool, man. 'Cause 200, that's a lot, dude. There aren't a whole lot of podcasts out there with 200 episodes. And, but I like listening to your show, man. It's really cool. Every week, man, the nifty nerd news, man, that's the coolest stuff, man. I always learn stuff from you, man. You're like inspiration to me, man. I don't usually talk so good, and, but anyway, man, hey, I, you think you could, leave the phone line, open, forevers? It'd be really cool to, maybe, call into the show and stuff, maybe. I don't know, man. Hey, congrats on the 200 episodes, man. That's really cool. And, hey, if you want to be friends or something, let me know, man, 'cause I could use some friends. Anyway, bye.
Yeah, that's Jason. He's a really funny guy. God, I'm so happy he called in and did that crap. It was a lot of fun and gave me a good chuckle. But if you're interested in another one-man comic book show, if one-man comic book show isn't enough, you can check out his. It's a lot of fun. He's a big supporter of my show, and I'm just so glad that he's involved with everything, and he makes a great idea. I think I'm going to leave the phone lines open after going forward. Now, I'm going to keep the Google Voice thing. I'm thinking once a month, like have people call in throughout the month or whatever, and then at the end of the month I'll listen, see what you guys have, any comments or questions, and then I'll answer them or just play them at the the last episode of the month, and kind of do that as like my dedicated episode to the fans, or I don't know, something like that. It's still a work in progress, but I like that idea, and I want to thank Jason for helping me come up with that. Up next, we got one from a good friend of mine. Her name is Kayla. She actually is a photographer, which is really cool, but also me and her bond over our love of graphic novels like Giant Days, Saga, and things like that. So she's been a really great friend. She's kind of like my best friend up here, now that we moved up. She's married to my other best friend, David, who he's been on the show a few times, David the vegan. And so this is his wife, also vegan, which helps in a vegan relationship. No, but she left a very nice, very sweet voicemail that we'll play right now.
Hi, Brightside, aka Best Friend. Just wanted to stop by and say that I think your show is super cool, and I found some graphic novels and some comics through your show that I probably wouldn't have picked up otherwise. One of them actually being Saga, because I don't like sci-fi, and because of you, it's now one of my favorite things ever. Anyway, keep doing what you're doing. I think you're great. Okay, bye.
And thank you, Kayla, for that sweet, sweet message. It is so great. And, that's kind of like the big perk of this podcast and things that I get to do is if I can help someone find something that they really enjoy or, kind of be like, I didn't think I'd like that, but now I really love it. Like, that's like a super win for me. I can die happy now that, I made an impact in someone's life. And so it's just great. Hopefully there's more people out there and, come forward, tell me, let me know, boost my ego. That's really all I need. That's why I'm podcasting. But, no, it was really great. And then, also, we had another. I got just a few more, and 3 more. And this next one is actually from another good friend of mine, podcasting brother. I met him when I first started back in Houston at Comic Palooza. He and his co-host Miguel. This is Justin I'm talking about. His co-host Miguel. They were doing a podcast called Comical Podcast at the time, and really bonded with those guys. They helped me a lot grow my show and kind of really fine-tune what I was doing. And also, it was just great to listen to their show. They've since gone on to do different things now. We'll start. Miguel does Critical Thinking podcast, which is fun. It's him and some friends out in their neck of the woods. They talk they talk more movies and stuff, so that's really cool. Justin and George and their friend Andy, or Princess Sophia, they do another podcast called Mind Fudge, and that's a comedy podcast where they just talk about different topics and things like that. It's a lot of fun, but I'm just rambling on and on. Check it out. But here's a message that Justin sent in.
Hey, Brian, it's Justin from Comical Podcast and Mind Fudge Comedy Podcast and Gray Bear Comics. I just wanted to call in and congratulate you on 200 episodes, man. It's a huge accomplishment. And I'm sure there's going to be another 200 or so. Anyways, man, I hope you're having a good day, and I'm looking forward to more. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you again for that phone call, Justin, man. It really makes me happy. It's just really great to hear you guys call in and stuff. I like this. This really boosts my ego. And one of the last calls that I got was from another good friend that I met at Comic Palooza the first year I started podcasting. A lot of the friends that I made from that year and when I first started, I've kept. We stay in touch, we talk. And this next guy is an artist that I met there. He was on Artist Alley. I loved his art style. It was really cool, really different from what I was used to. Had him do a commission of Spider-Man and Deadpool taking a selfie together. It was so awesome. This is Herbie Rivera. He does some really cool artwork. Check out his Instagram and stuff. I like what he does. He's changed since we first met. Not like him personally, like, oh no, he's changed. He's not the man I used to. No, his artwork has definitely got more fine-tuned. I love the stuff that he's doing. Check him out. But here's Herbie.
Hey Brian, this is Herbie Rivera. Congratulations on hitting your 200 episode. I wish you well in the future, and I know you'll make 1,000. That'll be awesome. All right, man. Laters.
Awesome stuff from Herbie. Thank you so much, man, for calling in and just singing praises. He's a really cool guy. Like I said, go check out his Instagram and see what he's all about, man. I dig his artwork. I think you guys might too. And then the last voicemail that I got, a voice message, comes from my very own wife, Casey, who's been my rock, who's helped me keep on with the podcast, take care of RJ whenever I need help, so that way I can record like tonight and every week, every Wednesday or Thursday that I sit down to record. She grabs RJ, takes care of him. Actually, I can hear RJ now. It's probably because he can hear me, so we're going to get a little quieter. I'm going to turn this into an ASMR podcast. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, here is the voicemail from my wife, my loving wife who cares so much about me, and it says so many great things about me.
Sup?
That's just pure love right there. I don't care what anyone else says. That's really the voicemail she left me. My wife, because she loves me that much. But anyway, guys, that was all for your guys' messages. I want to thank you so much for everyone that called in or even thought about calling in. It was great. I think like Walker the Geek suggested, I'm going to keep this open. I'm going to keep this a thing. And so just, you know what? If you ever have comic book questions or comments about what's going on in pop culture and stuff like that, call into the line. It's 585-53-BRYFY, BRYFY, or, people who need the numbers, it's 585-532-7939. So you can call in, leave a comment, message, question, joke, poke fun at me, whatever you want to do. I will listen to them at the end of each month, and then for the final podcast of that month, we will address the questions, address the fans, or I don't know, I'll come up with some cool name segment for that or whatever. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. But up next now is an interview that I had with the creators of Trailer Park Samurai. Their names escapes me. Here they are. Seth Weber and Kevin Newt. It's N-U-U-T. It's like Newt. I don't know. Really great guys. Had a lot of fun. They actually stayed extra long at work just so they can have an interview with me. And so that was really awesome of them to do. So without further ado, here are the creators of Trailer Park Samurai. Definitely worth it though, man. I love being in this area. It's so much nicer. It's so much more relaxed and less businessy for me, so I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Austin, and every once in a while I think about leaving in the summer, but then I just come back after and just get away from the heat for a while.
Right. No, I feel you, man. Like in Houston, that was the problem, because it's like everything's concrete, so it just like radiates like everywhere you go. Oh man, it's freaking awful. So like, I don't miss it that much. There's some things I miss, like going to Astros games like every other day, but other than that, it's not too bad. All right, man. So that's pretty cool that you guys work together and you do a comic together. So makes things easy, right?
We've known each other for, I think this is probably over a decade at this point.
Oh, dang, man. So, like, how long did it take y'all to come up with this story, Trailer Park Samurai?
Well, it was originally a friend that I went to high school with showed me 30 pages of a film script that he had written, just for fun. It was just an idea he had, and it was called Trailer Park Samurai, and it was very grindhousey, and it was just crazy. And I loved it, but he never really did anything with it, and the name just sort of always stuck with me, and the character always kind of stuck with me. And when I moved down here and I met Kevin, and I think he was introduced to me by saying like, "Hey, this guy does Flash animation," and I was like, "Oh, well, that's cool. Maybe I could try to do some like Trailer Park Samurai thing with animation." and we like tried to get that off the ground, and it was just like, this is way too much work. we just can't do that at all. And then at a certain point, he was thinking about doing some comic work with somebody else, and I was helping like just review the story. And like the next day I came in and was like, we both said like, why aren't we doing Trailer Park Samurai as a comic? And then like a year later we had the first book.
Awesome, man. That's really funny. And I hear that a lot, like from other people, other creators. Is like it starts as like either a cartoon or a movie, like some type of storyboard, and then people just realize, you know what, this would totally work as a comic book, And is that because like comic books just seem more, like I don't know, more fluid? Like you can get away with more stuff, or is it just easier to get into?
I think definitely for me, art-wise, I already spend so much time doing the comic art-wise that I'm usually the main blocker. But yeah, we were doing animation for a while, and I was doing like these 10-second intro clips to a old Machinima YouTube thing we had, and even those were like 8-hour like grind just for 10 seconds. So
yeah, it's just considerably less frames.
Yeah.
Right.
Instead of 30 frames a second, we just have to do 6 panels a page or whatever it's decided it is.
Yeah, I was always so interested in animation, like especially in high school. But when I tried to sit down and work with stuff like cell by cell, all that crap, like it's just, I don't have the patience for it. I don't think I have the willpower.
And I think as crazy as that is, I think people probably do go into like comics as a fallback, but I think through our experiences, it's not as hard, but it is considerably difficult.
Oh yeah. I think the thing about comics too, like you said, like I think the entry to get into comics art wise is a little bit easier than like animation, but really crafting a story, at like, like with animation, you get like 20, 30 frames a second to do something, but you're looking at like one frame to tell part of a story, and I feel like it can be way more difficult trying to tell a very detailed story just through art,
Yeah. I personally feel like when I'm writing, I see it all playing out in my head, and it's typically about like finding that one moment that I can pause it on, that I feel kind of like, captures that particular moment that it needs to.
Yeah, and I mean, like I'm thumbing through the comic again just to keep up, and I love a lot of the panels. I love a lot of just the moments that are captured. There's some funny stuff with the bullies, facial expressions between the kid and his parents. Like, I mean, it's good. It's a good snapshot of like the action between the panels. It helps you kind of read between the lines, and like. It's funny because I just got done reading Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics. I don't know if you guys have ever checked that out.
I'm actually like about a quarter of the way through that.
I love all those books.
Oh God, I'm about to start the next one, which is the technology one, I think.
Yeah, he has. Is there 3 of them? 3 main ones?
I only know the 2, Understanding Comics, and then the how technology can improve, or I can't remember what the second one's called. But then I've read some of his graphic novels too, which are fantastic. But like reading the Understanding Comics has really made me appreciate like what people do art and storytelling wise with words. I appreciate it so much more now, and like it really translates well to your guys' comic Trailer Park Samurai. Just everything flows very fluid. Your panel layout is really good. I think for me, a lot of people, especially would try. I'm trying to think of the word. I guess indie comics is what I'm looking for. A lot of them will try to do either outside of the box panels work and not fully understand what they're doing, or some people will go way too simple, and it just feels like I'm reading a Sunday news strip, But you guys have a good blend of panel play with just good structure, and that I really enjoy.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. Appreciate it. I remember, when we first started going into this, I've read comics since I was a kid, and I thought I got them, but then I started reading all the books on like not even just comics like Scott McCloud's Making Comics, but like there's ones I read just on like doing storyboards and directing, and I was like, oh, I have no idea.
Yeah, and the stuff around like focus on a page and like those intersecting points. I remember Kevin showing me like this thing of like where you like draw these like diamonds that like show intersecting points of where you would necessarily want focus, where the eye tends to gravitate to on a page.
Yeah, all those things blow me away, and as an artist, I realized I have like years more stuff to learn.
Yeah, I had gone to film school, and you kind of get a very similar education with that, where you're kind of like, oh, these people that are doing this professionally are doing this stuff for a very specific reason. Like, there's a lot of thought, and it's not kind of like, oh, I'm going to put this camera wherever. Like, there's so much detailed thinking and planning that goes into it, and there's so much meaning behind everything that they're doing to get you to feel the way they want you to feel.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, let's talk a little bit more about the comic. You know, we've kind of alluded to it, but we haven't really talked about the story here. I mean, do you guys want to summarize it or break it down for me?
So the Trailer Park Samurai is about a young teenage white trash kid named Jim, who comes from a broken home, really. He lives with his grandfather and his mom. His dad's kind of out of the picture. And what we basically did was in the first issue, it kind of takes place in the middle of his overall story. We just kind of drop you in the middle of it, and it was really a story that I wanted to try doing a self-contained small story that was single location, minimal characters, so that we didn't have to like worry about having to all this extra detail. We could just keep it to one place, and it's just sort of like a monster tale. For the second issue, and we're working on the sort of intro arc right now, to sort of introduce him where he's from, and he comes in contact with a sword that's possessed by the spirit of a samurai warrior who trains him to become a samurai and fight a unleashed evil. That's the overall story in a nutshell.
No, it's pretty awesome, man. And did I talk to Kevin or Seth at Staple? That's where I'd met you guys and got introduced to the comic.
You talked. It was me, Kevin. We got a chance to.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember. I'm sorry, man. I'm terrible with names. But you did actually recommend book 2 to me first. That way I could get a good intro to the character and everything. And it's a good intro. You get to see where this kid comes from, his background. And honestly, the thing that got me the most was about the dad. Like, I'm a father now, and my son's 2, and so like, I don't know what it is. I'm just such a wuss when it comes to like father stories now. And like him just wanting to believe, no, my dad's coming. And then he like the way he like lies to the mother at the end, like, yeah, it was great. Like that hurts my feelings.
Yeah, I think he definitely holds his dad, even though I feel like in his life he's had fairly limited interaction with him, but I think he's seen all of that interaction with fairly rose-tinted glasses, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So he kind of holds him up to this light, and he's just constantly surrounded by his mom, you know, talking bad about him, really, because he hasn't done anything for her. So yeah, he's definitely trying to like hold him up into this thing that the dad just can't meet, which is what I think will get interesting when that samurai warrior spirit is unlocked, because obviously this kid is desperate for a father figure. So that's a relationship we will definitely be exploring.
It's awesome, and I mean it's good. Like, I love stories that have this fantasy sci-fi elements to them, but then have a very grounded like story or moral to them. You know, a relationship between a parent or just very grounded stuff like that. It always makes for a very compelling story, and it's just really fun. And that's what I see here with Trailer Park Samurai. I see a lot of just relationships. I see a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what happens next, especially with the whole possessed samurai sword. which in issue 2 we don't get a peek at, but what we do get a peek of is his little trash can lid hat.
Yep.
And what's this raccoon, man?
Yeah, I think Seth is the one that has all the amazing stories and that make me want to tear up and cry, and then I'm the one that's like, can I put raccoons in this thing? Can I put more monsters? I don't know how Crackers started, but then
I don't remember.
I just wanted a buddy sidekick.
Yeah, there was something along that. I think I had a general notion of him having. I had the beats for it. I originally had were him having the conversation with his mom in the morning, dealing with the bullies, trying to skip school, dealing with the bullies, the stuff with the dad at the end. But there wasn't like something to help kind of connect some of those things. And I don't remember. I think it may have been here at work where like we were just sort of talking about it at lunch one day, and some people kind of like threw that notion out, or maybe we were just kicking it around, or maybe I had the raccoon in it for the bully section, but then we thought we'd bring him back to kind of have that weird interaction at the diner at the end.
Yeah.
But I have to say that like people love the raccoon. Like they really dig the raccoon, and we've been thinking about selling out really hard and keeping the raccoon around in some capacity or another. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see. He's just kind of around and is kind of doing his thing, but kind of interweaves with Jim's story.
I mean, he's cute. He's adorable. Everyone loves a trash panda, man. I mean, come on.
Yeah, well, I think we'll already just go straight into the spin-off.
Yeah.
Where he has to go on his own samurai adventure and recruit a whole gang of squirrels or something.
Dude, what if instead he becomes a ninja?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there you go.
And see, that was my other thing that I wanted. Like, okay, so like, he's really into samurai stuff. I mean, is that like, I know you talked about the story from earlier, but I mean, are you guys more into samurais? I mean, why choose samurai over ninja? Like, that's always like the thing to me. Like,
it's the eternal debate right there. Right? I'm huge into like that sort of Chambara Japanese samurai cinema. We on our Instagram, we haven't done it in a bit, but we were pretty regularly doing a sort of Samurai Sunday where we kind of highlight a movie or series or actor or director that really sort of inspire us. And really at the heart of this, like that story of Jim, combating this unleashed evil is the main arc, but really at the heart of it, it becomes a wandering samurai story. So sort of like Zatoichi, or Lone Wolf and Cub, Yojimbo, Sanjuro, stuff like that, where you have a character that has a very particular set of morals, and you know how that character reacts in certain situations, but the people that he encounters don't necessarily know that. So there's this kind of like dramatic irony where you're like, oh man, you're going to push him over the edge now. Like, where his line is and what lines he crosses and will not cross. So it's just a matter of like putting him in these different situations and seeing how he reacts to them. So that's the other kind of allure to being able to tell this story, is kind of like tell those wandering samurai tales.
It's really awesome. And, I wish I had gotten more into like the samurai movies and stuff. I think the closest I ever got to anything like that was like the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, like, I don't really think of that as like a samurai movie. But then I don't.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's got swords.
Yeah, it does.
I think anime like Samurai Champloo and
oh yeah,
Samurai Jack was like my favorite thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
that's another one that's very heavily influenced, because that one kind of follows the same idea, right? You have this overarching story of him trying to get back to the past and defeat Aku, but you have most of that show is sort of one-off stories, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That doesn't necessarily play to that arc, but every once in a while they'll have something that deals with that arc and progresses it toward its conclusion.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's a good model to follow. I mean, look how awesome Samurai Jack was.
Yeah.
And,
It did all right.
Yeah. And did you guys ever check out the new episodes that they brought out?
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
It was just so good getting back into that art style, too. Like, same with, like, the Batman the Animated Series. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like those are the only things I still have a DVD of. Like,
I mean, I feel like that Genndy Tartakovsky, I recently saw a video that broke down how he's sort of the master of pacing and his timing and how he allows things to like sit and linger, and like he doesn't rush to anything. And like sitting, like watching the video, I don't remember what it's called, but you should try to find it. But it's a really great look at how he uses pacing and space and negative space a lot in the stuff that he does to, like we were talking about, convey the feelings that you want. But that dude is a master.
Right.
He really is.
It's funny because, I grew up just loving that show and that cartoon, and then like you go back and look at it as, someone with more knowledge in your head, and you look at just how like almost before its time it was, or just how groundbreaking it felt for just a cartoon, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so crazy being older, like appreciating these things. I can only hope that my son can appreciate things the way that I do now.
Yeah. I know. I'm always curious about that. Like, what is this generation like consuming now? And you just look back and realize, like, I want to know, what am I missing out on that? Like, yeah.
I don't know. And like, man, like even now there's tons of like really great stuff, especially cartoons like Adventure Time. I love watching that.
Oh yeah.
I'm actually a big fan of Regular Show too. Just it reminds me so much of like Me and My Friends, and just like kicking it and acting stupid, punching each other. But I mean, like it's just great, like how things are now. Like it's not just like Tom and Jerry stuff. It's groundbreaking almost in a way. Like I don't know what it is.
Or I just finished Gravity Falls and that whole story arc, and then how they start bringing in like other dimensions and all that sort of stuff in a cartoon. Like what starts off as just again like monster story beats, and then they're just like pulling everything in. I was just like, man,
right, dude. And it's like, what is it, freaking Rick and Morty, man? Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Isn't there? I can't remember. Isn't there like a theory that Rick and Morty and Gravity Falls are connected? Or there's some show.
The creators know each other very well, is my understanding, and so if you can actually find a lot of Gravity Falls references in Rick and Morty. And like on the Citadel, there was the two kids, I forget their name, but like there's versions of them as Morty, but dressed up as them and stuff and all.
That's what it is.
The pyramid demon creature is always showing up everywhere in Rick and Morty, hidden. That was in Gravity Falls. Like, yeah.
Dude, it's so awesome, man. Getting to see like Easter eggs like that and all of that kind of stuff. And heck, even in your guys' comic, there's little Easter eggs if people pay attention, and just little call out to like stuff that are in the real world, like her wearing the owl shirt, obviously a reference to a certain restaurant.
Yeah, I think in my friend's original script, I think his mom was supposed to be a stripper. And I think I just kind of wanted to tone, like not call it out outright, but just sort of like have her at a more seedier bar.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Usually, go ahead.
No, man, you go ahead.
Yeah, it's usually too like we'll fill in those scenes, and I'll just leave the shirts and the posters blank, and then I'll just like ask friends or coworkers. I'm like, can you fill these with like legally safe references for me, so it feels like authentic and real? And then we'll just sit down and have fun, like making up any sort of names we can for like every book and comic and poster that are around the wall.
Well, whoever came up with tulips and pistols is my new favorite person, because that made me laugh.
I think that was another. We just there's just like a big group of content writers at work, and I'm just like, all right, here's a poster. I need rock bands from this era. Please, someone just make up a bunch of, again, legally safe.
Like Guns N' Roses, but not.
It's so good. And like, okay, so you're talking about the era now. Does this take place in a certain time period, or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, there isn't any hint of cell phones as of yet. In my mind, I don't know. I don't know if we necessarily want to tie it to an era.
Yeah.
What is it in your head?
It's tough too. I guess like I put it sort of in my mind. I just put it with my childhood, so it's like 90s. But then also, it's coming from a smaller town. Things are going to be a little older and run down anyway. So in my mind, it's sort of mid 90s. Everyone's getting secondhand of whatever the big city has as far as cars and posters and
right.
But, yeah.
Man, talking about the town, there's like no building in here that looks like it's livable. The only one that looks passable, like that could pass a health code inspection, is the diner. And even that one's got some mess on it. But it's just funny because like it's definitely a very worn, lived-in world or town that they're staying in. Everything seems to be touched by time and not in the best ways.
Yeah. One of the things I said to Kevin was that like really that second issue is kind of us seeing Jim in his natural habitat, so sort of like picking out that a day where you get to see sort of what he's doing, right? And it's very much that town is very much Tatooine, right, from Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't want it to be attractive. I want it to be like, man, why are you like if when he leaves, you're like, good, I'm glad to see the end of that town, because it's just there's nothing for you there. There's nothing. Like harassed at school, the town has clearly had its day, probably back in the 50s, maybe when there or even earlier. Maybe there was a mine nearby or something, but that's all closed and just everything's shuttered, and yeah, it just doesn't look great. So let's get him out of there as fast as possible.
It's like I feel like I've lived in these towns, man. Growing up in small town Texas, it's like I feel like I've been here. Hopefully this kid can get to Austin.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's sort of the great thing about that ability to tell the wandering story is like we can change that setting in a moment's notice.
Yeah, because first issue, I think we have him in Virginia, and then that's a few years later, I think. And then right now this one's sort of New Mexico. I think we sort of said there's sort of like a line that he's slowly walking across the states.
Yeah.
But we're not super tied to it, which is a little nice.
Dang.
I do like, I like world building though. I love just looking up every small town, New Mexico, and seeing.
We definitely did there was a lot of, we have like a folder of images for reference. Yeah. Of just like tons of small New Mexico towns.
See, man, this story had to take place in like the 20s, because nowadays if a kid like just went walking away, like there'd be cops, there'd be Facebook posts. Like, he wouldn't have made it to Virginia. He wouldn't even made it out of the county. Like in this day and age, someone would have stopped him. But like that's crazy, man. Like
that's definitely something we've been thinking about, because I mean, like when you have a kid who's 12, like his choice to actually leave his home, that it has to be pretty drastic. Like there's got to be something serious for him to be like, okay, I got to go, whether it's right or wrong, but like that choice has to be a pretty big choice to make for a kid that young.
Right. Well, maybe your target audience is like people like me who grew up with Pokemon, and you're like, hey, I'm 10 years old, let's go be Pokemon masters now. And then it just makes sense. You just leave. No money, no job, just gone.
We'll just end it with him saying he has to be the very best. Yeah. And then like he'll jump in the air and freeze frame.
See that his raccoon is his Pokemon.
Yeah. Just throw the backpack, and the raccoon unleashes out of the backpack every time he wants to fight.
See, he could run into like the little punk kids like in the forest or whatever, like the cool trainers, like these cool samurais and whatever. That's what you should do. Just make this like low-key Pokemon story, but as a samurai tale, and like you know what? No,
merchandising is ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, I'm copyrighting it. That's my story.
Oh, nuts.
And it's recorded, so obviously you guys are tied legally. Now you have to be a part of my team. No.
Yeah.
Now we can just do a crossover.
Yep.
There we go.
I love universe crossovers.
See, that's all I want to do. Like, I'll sell out by crossovering with everything. Like, if I can get, like, J.J. Abrams to crossover on my podcast or something for a small fee, like, that's fine, you know?
That's a good crossover.
Yeah. Well, see, I'm trying to get into the Star Wars universe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, if I could just voice a stormtrooper, that's really all I want.
It seemed in episode 7 they were fulfilling celebrity requests for that.
Yeah, and like, what was it? Like, I listened to Kevin Smith and his podcast a lot, and he got to do that, and I'm like, man, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I think Daniel Craig was one too.
Like, he was actually, he was in the suit. From what I remember hearing, it's when Rey is like trapped, and she's talking to the stormtrooper to release her. That's supposed to be Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
And like, that's intense. That's really awesome. Like, I don't know, man. And then like, I just saw the trailer to the new one that's coming out, episode 8, and oh my god, dude, like,
It's intriguing.
I mean, I know they cut it and edit it a certain way to make you feel these feelings.
Yeah.
And like, I could tell like the backgrounds are different in these scenes that they're, but come on.
Oh yeah.
But they're posing that question. What happens?
And then like, you read people's fan theories on things, and it gets in your mind and it just rots your brain.
And now I'm trying to avoid, as I watched the trailer, but I'm just trying to avoid reading in the hype. I go to the Reddit prequel memes for the jokes, but I don't read any more fan theories. If it's not about pod racing, I don't care. Mm-hmm. I hope there's pod racing in this one.
Hopefully.
Just all like an hour-long pod race scene.
They should just make a pod racing movie.
Yep.
Like, it could be Fast and Furious, but with pod racers.
Yep.
With some Ewoks. I mean, we got an Ewok movie. We got 2 Ewok movies, right?
Yeah, no one asked for those.
I just remember loving those as a kid, not knowing any better, and just like wanting to watch our
with that
VCR.
little blonde kid with the super curly hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore knockoff.
Yeah. Yeah, that we couldn't get Drew Barrymore kid. She was too expensive after E.T.
Oh man, it's just crazy. And I don't know. There's a lot of cool things going out right now, but a lot of cool stuff happening right here with you guys and Trailer Park Samurai. Like, I'm really excited to see what happens next in the story.
Cool. Yeah. We're working on. We have another one-off story script finished that we're going to try to get started, and then I have to start working on the one that follows that issue 2.
Yeah, I think we settled on a 3-part origin story, and we wanted to mix in monster battles issues between. We like the idea of flashing forward and back, because definitely forward is where you do get more of the, like, at that point, crazy amount of monsters
and action
and things are mutating, and you can really see what he has become, but then you can sort of flash back in.
And what he's up against.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's really awesome stuff. I'm really excited. I'm so glad I bumped into you and just saw this little white trash kid with a trash can lid on his head and a stick. And I'm like, what the hell is this? You know, and I'm so glad I stopped and talked. I'm so glad I picked it up. It's just really cool stuff. And are you guys doing any more cons this year? Are you taking a break till next year?
I definitely need to start drawing the next issue, so I asked if I could put some pause on it. I think definitely. I know we've talked, and we at least want to do 2 or 3 a year, but
yeah, ideally we'd like to try to focus and do 1 a quarter maybe. But I know that they also book like at least 6 months in advance typically.
Oh yeah.
So we're probably out for this quarter, but we'll probably look for something at the beginning of the year. Who knows? Maybe we'll have another issue at that point.
Yeah.
Not committing to anything. But that last one took us 6 months.
Yeah, that one took 6 months.
Yeah.
And so I was going to ask, how do you guys get these things made? I mean, do y'all Kickstarter, self money and publish and everything? Like, what do you guys do?
The cool thing is, like, we do it all digitally, so most of the costs there are pretty much zero.
Just sort of time.
Yeah, we did just go to sort of self-publish. Well, we went through like 2 print shops to just get them like a small run ourselves, and we try to just get friends and family to commit to them ahead of time. It was that being our first con, we were a little unsure, and I think we ordered like 100, and we did of each issue, and we did
50 of one and 100 of the second.
And we did pretty well, and then we just sort of followed up with that by trying to get it into a comic book store too, and just other friends and people came along and finished buying it up.
Yeah, we only have a handful left right now from that order. But it's all self-funded. That second issue, the first issue we didn't really have any costs except for printing. That second issue we brought a colorist on, so we paid her. But really, we are trying to figure out how we at least break even on it, which is obviously the difficult part. And we have a Patreon right now, but we're still trying to figure out how to actually function that, because finding the time to produce things and also deliver stuff is difficult. But we have a handful of things up there that are cool. Like we have the actual scripts from those first 2 issues. We have like the writing template that I use that I kind of made for Google Docs. Kevin's got some process videos of him drawing some early versions of the character. And we have a bunch of recordings, I think, of most of the work from 2.
Yeah, I think nearly every page got a video, because I drew all the drafts in on the iPad. But yeah, it's cool. It's just been tough to figure out. We were looking more, just single issues too. The margins are so thin, just even to break it even, which is really just our goal, that we might look to, and just trying to get enough issues done to have a trade. And then, we had a lot of people come up too, and they said they were really interested, but they wanted to wait for a trade. So a lot of them just went and checked out. We have the first issue online for free too, and you can get the second one for $1 online on our Patreon as well. So hopefully we can just draw more people for the digital experience until we have a trade.
Yeah, definitely. And what's the Patreon? Where can people find all that?
Yeah, pretty much just if you look up Trailer Park Samurai on Instagram or Facebook or Patreon, you'll find us. Just Trailer Park Samurai, all one word. And you can find it there. We're pretty active on Instagram, and then we're trying to, like I said, kickstart our Patreon with just a lot more videos, like a lot of behind the scenes. So if you are, hopefully, if you're a comic fan, hopefully you get some joy out of seeing like our struggle, because we're figuring it out as we go. And so hopefully our goal is just to share that, and people can tell us we're doing it all wrong, and then we'll fix it.
Yeah, and we have right now we have we also have digital copies and print on demand copies through Indie Planet. And people could just search on there if they're so inclined to purchase an actual hard copy of either issue.
Awesome, man. Awesome stuff. And then, like, for people who like to go into brick and mortar stores, I know Rogues Gallery up where I live has some of your guys' issues, which is really cool to see there.
Yeah, that was the first store we were able to get it into. We talked to the owner at Staple, actually, and
Randy.
then stopped by there, and they took a handful of issues. The last time I was in there, I think they had gone through 2 of issue 1 and 1 of issue 2, which is cool. We have to go back up there and see what's going on. But we need to get into some of the other stores in the area and see if they'd be interested in carrying it.
Yeah, man. And they got your comic in a good spot. It's right there in front of the counter where you're gonna see it.
Yeah.
And so that's really awesome, man. I've always liked that store ever since I moved up here, and it helps that it's real close to me. So because I used to drive down to Austin Books and Comics, but now that I know Rogues Gallery is right there, now that's my store, and so it's really cool stuff, man. But,
Oh,
no, go ahead, man.
No, yeah, it was great getting to meet Randy, owner of Rogues Gallery. He actually, I guess, like, they do a lot of game nights too, and my wife is her coworker. We've been to some of their game nights. I might have actually been at a game night with him there, and I never knew it. Like, they just this couple's house we go to, like, their whole living room is just set up with D&D tables and stuff, and it's like awesome. Like, just everyone's playing board games, like 50 people in there playing. Like, 15 different games. It was crazy. And then apparently they do that like every week alternating, or probably even more. But yeah, it was a great game to talk to him, and just he's been super helpful too on just like insight on like what we're trying to do and how to work with comic shops in general. So yeah, definitely go check out Rogues Gallery.
Yeah, man.
For anyone.
See, there's an ad right there. I'm just
there you go.
No. I'll take a free comic. No. No, it's awesome stuff, man. It's really cool. And like, damn, D&D, man. I want to get into D&D so bad, but it's just like, it's daunting. It's scary to me. Like, it seems like so much.
Yeah, we do them at lunch sometimes. I think if you're just joining in and you have a dungeon master who knows what they're doing, like it's so nice because you can just sort of join in. I think definitely if you can just sort of, even if you go to that comic shop and ask them if they're doing that night, because like just getting to play in one with like a really good dungeon master like makes it so much better.
Yeah, I think it's really that would be the key, is finding someone that will DM for you and then like is okay with you not necessarily knowing what you're doing at first.
Yeah.
Because there are some dungeon masters that will not abide any of that foolishness. But like someone that's like, yeah, sure, I'll take you through like your first campaign. It's no problem. Most times, from my experience, the people are just excited that you're interested in it, and will be like very supportive of getting you into it.
Awesome, man. Yeah, I need like a D&D for Dummies group. That'll help me out. But hey, man, I just want to thank you guys for coming on the show. You know, I had a lot of fun talking, getting to know more about Trailer Park Samurai and what it takes to get a comic started. You know, that was some really cool insight that you guys gave.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's been a great time, man.
Yeah, man. And like you guys said, anyone that's listening and wants to check out Trailer Park Samurai, you can go to their Patreon, which is a great way to support them, help them produce and make the comic. You get some cool kickbacks from there. And you guys said you're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. Is there any other places that you guys are at that we're missing?
No, yeah. We'd love to hear from anyone if you want to reach out to us on Instagram or Facebook. Yeah, we love just talking to people, and meeting so many other comic artists has been really awesome too, and just seeing like what other awesome comic artists are doing. So it's been fun.
Yeah, man. And like I said, you guys got a really solid book here. It's a good story. The colorist that you guys signed on, what was her name?
Her name's Paula Solomon.
Okay,
yeah,
there you go.
She's from Brazil. Found her online. We were looking for a very particular, or Kevin was looking for something in the sort of Paper Girls style, and I had seen some of her work that was of that sort of feel. And we gave her a shot, and we're like, whoa, you just elevated this project considerably higher than we thought we could do originally. Let's go for it.
Yeah, no,
yeah, we're just blown away with what you did.
Yeah, no, it really looks good. The colors really set the tone, pun intended there. It's good. Like I said, it's a well-crafted comic. It's better than a lot of the indie stuff that a lot of people try to push out. I know people like to be, oh, no, everyone's stuff is good. Sometimes people don't push out good stuff. They might have good ideas, but the execution's bad. But I think you guys have a very good execution and a good story. And so I feel like people should give you guys a look.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. But, thanks for staying late at work to give me some of your time, guys. I'll let you get out of there so you guys can go home to your families and sleep.
Thanks, man.
Cool.
It's been fun.
Yep. Yeah, man. Catch y'all later.
Hey, take care.
See ya.